modified max effort days to top sets of 3 or 5 on the main lift. It's not a bad idea. Depends where you are in your training. I think it's a good idea for beginners who aren't quite ready for a true 1 rep max yet. Just let them work up, doing sets of 3 or 5 or whatever you pick for the day till it's hard. Don't, they need to kind of be eased into straining, I think. Not so much from a mental aspect, but just from a technical side, learning to hold good position when stuff starts to get hard, and continuing to push and not collapse. I think that's a good way to do it. I would typically do speed work for 2 to 3 weeks straight, and then that would be the next step, doing some reps, not true max effort rep. At that point, I wouldn't go 3 rep max, just make it a heavy 3, and then maybe have them do a couple sets of that, or shut it down for the day, move on to your next thing. But that's typically where I like to use those. I think there's a lot of benefits to the max effort method that you don't get from a 2 or 3 rep. I think part of the reasoning behind max effort work is to keep the volume low. So you start doing reps on it, you're kind of contradicting one of the advantages. So in my experience, I like to go with 1 rep maxes if we can. If the motivation's there, the kids are technically good, all those things. So yeah, there's a place for those. With advanced lifters, not very often that's something I would do. Because, and the reasoning for that is, on your next barbell movement, you're going to do some hard, heavy sets of 3 or 5, typically. So, if you've got a lifter that can handle the 1 rep max, or a true max effort method, that's why I like to do it, because in the very next lane, you're hitting your 3s and your 5s, and you're getting more time under tension, and you're doing a big compound movement with some volume. So the max effort method is a nervous system method. We're trying to teach your body to strain and not give up and fight for one hard ass rep. So you start doing rep work, you're taking away from that. So that's, yeah, you can put it in there, but it's not my go-to if I have the choice. Seated SSB, good mornings, low weight volume, heavy or low weight volume or heavy low weight. I think you're trying to say, or I'm trying to read, heavyweight lower reps or lighter weight more reps. On that one, I typically like lighter weight, more reps. But that's me, the way I'm built and stuff. That's not a movement that's ever been a good one for me to go heavy on. This doesn't feel right. I feel like I'm not getting much out of it. So for example, today we did speed squat, speed pull, and then we did seated safety bar rollover good mornings, and we put bands on them, and I bet we did like 50 reps a set. So it was roll over and arch into it, and just try to cook the shit out of your erectors, push a bunch of blood in there. That's my preferred method. And then we'll go heavier on like a normal good morning where you're standing, but that's just me. What are the best grip exercises that transfer to deadlift? You're probably asking the wrong guy, because I've dropped a bunch of deadlifts in competition. really depends. I mean, one thing you can do is just grip the bar correctly. You know, there's a technique to mix grip to get the most out of it. A lot of times the fucking weight's just too heavy. But I like to do like there's different types of gripping, right? Pinching and crushing and so try to mimic the deadlift with your stuff. So I think like fat bar holds for time are real good. Ed Cohn talked about making your thumb strong. You pinch like this. There's something to that, obviously. If the fucking goat says so, do that. You know, anything where you're crushing, I think, is good. So, you know, the Captains and Crush grippers are fine. They have that machine where you're crushing, fat bar holds. Just, you know what, a lot of people can get their grip stronger just squeezing the bar harder when they train. I think that's probably the first step you can do without spending a ton of time on grip work. Squeeze the fucking bar. Favorite program I have utilized other than Conjugate? Is that a thing? Can you have two favorites? I don't know, is that allowed? Honestly, not much. You know, I tried a bunch of shit kind of growing up. Not a fan of Bigger, Faster, Stronger. Not a fan of Husker Power. You know, kind of linear stuff. There was one program I ran in college. It was a booklet that came in Muscle Media 2000, and it was like how to increase your bench 50 pounds in 12 weeks or something, or 8 weeks. And when I did that, I took that program and I kind of put the sets and rep scheme, and I used it on my squat too. And then I would deadlift every other week with the same set and rep scheme and percentages from that program. And then I would kind of do whatever accessory work was there. And I had a really good spring that year, real good testing. You know, so but then the next time I tried it, and not that I got 50 pounds on my bench, but just putting that set and rep scheme on my main lift seemed to help quite a bit. But then the next time I ran it, didn't help as much. So kind of like anything else, the magic kind of wore off. So yeah, I really don't have one. Strained glute with a light deadlift warm up. Best recovery method. Go get some tissue work done. If it's real bad, go see a doctor, obviously. If you think you need to get some imaging done, see what's going on in there, but I feel like it's hard to strain a glute. You probably got a bunch of stuff stuck together. You just kind of, you know, like you said, strain, but a lot of times people will pull something, and if they just go get some tissue work done, that shit will help a lot. Go seek out a professional in your area. Start getting things stuck together and muscle not moving the way it should, and you can get some pretty painful stuff going on. So go get it looked at, get somebody to work on it. Because there's probably, you know, if it's to the point where it's strained, there's some dysfunction going on in there. So have somebody get in there and get that tissue moving right again. And then just come back slowly. Take your time when you're coming back. best way to fix imbalances on different sides of the back. What I've found coming back from shoulder surgeries, and I don't know if you're talking about lower back or upper back, like lats more. What I've found is coming out of surgeries for my shoulder, I was better off, and people will argue against this, but I could tell one side of my body was doing most of the work, the healthy side that didn't get operated on. So what I would do is try to do my lat work, not all the time, but where I couldn't cheat with the good arm. So like, you know, dumbbell rows, two-handed, like going the functional trainer. So I got a cable and a handle in each hand, so my good arm can't help the bad side. And not that all your training should be that way, but at least like one day a week, make it unilateral in nature, so that you're not cheating with your good side, if that makes sense, you know. And then do other things that help increase neural drive to that side, like slow eccentrics, isometrics, you know. And then you can have your other day of training be a heavier, more movement-based lift. So you're still getting a heavier stimulus, but then on the other day you're kind of separating it and trying to get that bad side caught up. So do some unilateral stuff, but don't make it your whole fucking program, you know. And then add in different stimulus. Throw a band on so the muscle has to contract all the way back through. Things like that will help. People squat with their feet pointed straight ahead. Honestly, for the most part, I like a wide stance squat. I think it's hard to go wide and have your feet completely straight ahead. So for the most part with athletes, like I would let them go where they're comfortable. You know what I mean? So, and then like the only time I would change it is if once we started squatting, I thought their feet were too turned out and it was messing with their form or whatever. Or if it looked like it was going to be tough on their knees, because you'll get those people that completely crank their toes out and it just doesn't look right when they're squatting. So yeah, kind of let them go where they're comfortable, unless it looks too wacky. You know what I mean? I used to do the same thing with bench grip and hand grip on the squat. Like for beginners and athletes who are usually beginners in the weight room too, just let them go where they're comfortable. They got enough other shit to worry about that makes more of a difference than the degree of their feet being turned out, or